Hey everybody, I'm Dave Walsh and I'm the host of Card Talk, and I am here to do a playthrough with a user in the Reddit community. His name is Matt, and Matt's with us. So Matt, why don't you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about who you are?
Hello, I'm Matt, also known as Cat Attack 22 on Reddit and
Yes,
various
Cat
other places
Attack
on the internet.
22. We love you. Sorry, I had to. It's just, I mean, Cat Attack 22. I mean, it's. I have to say that you and I have been interacting on the Reddit forums for, I would say, a long time digitally, right? Like 3 or 4 or 5 months, and
Yep.
it's always been positive. So it's I know that what you have going on is a true love for the game based on what I've seen at least digitally.
Yeah, I mean, when I got into the game, it was something my wife, then girlfriend, was like, this looks like a fun game we could play together. And so we had been playing the Cryptozoic deck builder for Lord of the Rings a lot. And it's like, yeah, we could give it a shot. And we tried it out, and it was just a little too heavy for her. But I was like, oh, this is very much like Magic the Gathering, which I love, and I don't have to like play against myself,
Right.
sort of thing. So I got really into it for a while, and then I was acquiring expansions faster than I could play, and I was playing more casually for a number of years, playing just a quest or two here or there. And in the last year, I sat down. I was like, you know what? I'm really going to try to play every quest that I have. And I just started playing like once or twice a week
Well, how many
and
quests
really
do you have?
documenting. Um, I have most of the regular quests and all the sagas, so I'm really
That's
only missing like a few APs and the Shadow and the East Deluxe at this point.
okay. That's
So I
cool.
probably have over 100 quests, and I'm in the middle of the Angmar Awakened cycle right now.
Uh, Man, is that the one with time? The time mechanic?
It does have time. Angmar Awakened is the Dunedain focused one.
Right.
So Battle of Karn Doom is actually next.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, I
Especially
think
if
I'm
you're
gonna
trying it
build
true
Dunedain
solo.
Trappers and try to bring a deck I know can beat it.
Right. My thing about the Angmar Awakens, or not the Angmar Awakens. The Oh, I guess Angmar Awakens is the one after. I'm thinking of the Ringmaker cycle where every quest is
Right.
time. I always get those two mixed up. But
Well, it's confusing because they put some time mechanics in Angmar Awakened, so it's like, yeah, there's some, but it's not the focus,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it was like every single thing in the Ringmaker cycle was just time. Anyways, I guess we could talk about all of this all day, but let's
We could.
let's talk about why we're doing this. So I guess, um, well, I mean, you put out onto Reddit the idea of a fan made deck. So take it from there. What's the deal with the fan made deck?
So, but the idea with the fan made deck is just to like with Reddit introducing polls, it's like we really could just vote on what to put into a deck, and try to like could we as a community put together a functioning decent deck. And I had some ideas because there's limitations on what the Reddit polls could do, and I was like, let's just go and try this out and see if we can make it work.
Yeah, and this is a shout out to the Reddit community. It seems like the Reddit community is super active. There's posts every day, and if you're not on the Reddit community, I would suggest you spend a little time getting to the Reddit community because it's just super active. And we just had a change in the moderator over there, right? It's the Rittermark Lord just became moderator a month and a half ago, and he's super active doing stuff. We've had him on Card Talk, the show, and that was nice. Anyways, yeah, I mean, so would you agree that the Reddit community is? It's like I'm asking you a lawyer question here. Like, wouldn't you agree that the Reddit community is amazing?
I would, Dave.
That's
One thing
so
I'll say
funny.
about the Reddit community is that I really like is that it's very new player or limited collection focused, which is kind of where I had lived for a long time. So I jumped around getting different expansions, and that was always the trick. Is like find a deck on RigsDB, and you're like, well, I don't have this, this, and this card. What could I sub in to
Right.
make it work. And it's not like Magic where you can have like, oh, well, Mana Leak is essentially counterspell, and you could pretty much sub those in and it works perfect.
Right.
So there's always compromises to be made when you're trying to do things like that.
You brought up Magic the Gathering. Oh boy.
Well, I mean, it's the closest analog I have, and I played Magic for 10 plus years.
Okay.
So it's hard not to borrow terminology and things from it, because just so much of what I think about in terms of this card game, in terms of mechanics, how decks work, I steal from Magic where
Yeah.
applicable.
Right. Absolutely. And you know, like card games are card games to some extent. You know, like if you know how Magic works, the mechanics behind Magic, then you probably can get into this game pretty. The barrier is a lot lower. Let's say that.
Yeah, I'll say the one thing in Magic that kind of tripped me up with this game is that the resource curve is very different, right?
Right.
Because you're always spending resources from heroes, and you're not just constantly building up a bigger pool of resources unless you have resource acceleration.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's always kind of the trick, is like, oh, well, I have to think about my tempo a different way and how I play the game.
Right. But it's solo, so that makes it. Lord of the Rings is solo, so that makes it a far superior product, right?
Well, it definitely makes it a lot easier to get to the table, because it's like, oh, well, I don't have someone to play against, so I guess Lord of the Rings can be pulled out at any time I feel like it.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the fan made deck. So I have it up on RingsDB, and you put it on there. It's the subreddit LOTRLCG crowdsource deck, and let's go through some of the. I mean, people are tuning into this to get to the playthrough, but I think it's important to talk a little bit about how this deck came to be, and then we'll get into the playthrough of Shadow in Flame. So,
Yep.
The floor is yours, my friend.
So I kind of took a top-down approach a bit to how do we go about selecting things. So, like, the order of the Reddit polls in the comments about the deck is kind of like, oh, well, let's think about the decisions, like how that will shape the deck, with usually the most important ones. Like, are we going to use a contract? The subreddit decided no, which is good and bad, because, like, if we had done a contract, it would have narrowed the possibilities significantly, right?
Right.
But without one, you have a wider range of things you can do. At the same time, that makes it much more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't have a contract. It's a straight vanilla-ish deck.
Right.
And then we was like, okay, well, let's vote on heroes. And what I decided to do is kind of a ranked choice vote by comment things. Basically, is like, okay, you could do gross number of votes, but then how do you break ties? And I didn't want to cascade into a ton of polls and have it drag out for a while.
Right.
And so with the ranked choice, it made it easy to be like, okay, well, here's people's first choice, and I can just count how many of the ties have first choice as the option and things like that, and made it very easy to just kind of sort and be like, okay, here's how things stand, and just get to the top three. So as you guys see, we got some pretty popular heroes selected from that. We've got Tactics Eowyn and Spirit Glorfindel. And I actually think your comment about getting someone who's not as
I don't
pushed Messiah up.
Yeah, I don't use Nasia very often, and so actually I don't know if she's ever made a deck for me. So I think it'll be fun to see how she actually works when we're playing this. Now, Shadow and Flame may not be the best deck to do it, but you can boost up her defense pretty easily. So maybe she can take a swing from Durin's Bane. Who knows? So.
Yep, and she's one I haven't played with yet either. So I'm very intrigued, and I did check RingsDB. There was only one other deck back when these heroes were picked that had this particular combination.
Okay.
So we ended up actually with a fairly unique hero lineup, which is very, So it's, it gives me a certain amount of satisfaction to be like,
Yeah,
hey, look, we did
it's like
something that's not, just a million decks on Rings DB.
right. Yeah, it's good. I mean, Eowyn is kind of low hanging fruit, and Glorfindel is pretty popular too. But that adding of Nasia there is pretty it's pretty cool. And
And
then
I think it was a logical breakdowns. We definitely have Eowyn to quest. Glorfindel is an easy attacker, um, and Nasia can be a pretty good, decent defender. And she could kind of be a secondary attacker if we get unexpected courage on her.
right,
So it, I think it works out pretty well in terms of the classic idea: quest, attack, defend.
right. Yeah, I noticed that there's um, one card that doesn't have the same color. I hate using color in Lord of the Rings, but it's but it's obvious when you go down through the list. There's lots of blue and lots of red, and then there's this one purple card. So what's what's going on with that?
So when we did the attachment polls, someone put in there a vote for Steward of Gondor. He's like, events are coming up. Like, as long as we get a good harvest in there, we'll be able to play this and use it on Nasia to give her more attack and defense more consistently. And it's the pulling way back into the past here, the Cardboard of the Rings Brandon idea of like, you could splash in a color card with a song and things like that. And it's gotten easier with a good harvest to do that. I'm a little hesitant to do that in my own decks, but it's an interesting idea, and I'm glad it worked out. I kind of had to do a little prodding to help make sure it didn't end up a dead card,
Right.
but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I
I'd
mean,
rather have a functioning deck than something that's like, oh well, this really is unplayable.
yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is this. I mean, this deck is obviously was created by a group of people, right? So nothing's ever going to be perfect. So in essence, we're saying in theory this should work out. Whether it does
Yeah.
or not, that's why we're doing the playthrough, right?
Well, and, I don't mind necessarily janky decks, right?
Right.
We're taking against a fairly hard quest with Shadow and Flame, but there are other quests out there where this probably would work just fine. And actually, I think C-Stan had on his quest gauntlet, which is what I pulled my possibilities from, like Escape from Mount Graham. That's a fairly easy quest, and I almost
Right.
put it on the poll because I was like, I kind of want to play that again, but it's
Right.
at the easier end of things.
Yeah, you want to give the deck a little bit of a challenge so that people can see how it all worked together. And I think that this is great for new players too. They see some cards that maybe they haven't seen. They can see some interactions maybe that they aren't used to. And even for veteran players to see Nasi on the table, I think while there's some veteran players that may play her all the time, I think veteran players don't play Nasia. And when we do Card Talk, the podcast, like we just like to highlight cards. Like it doesn't matter if it's popular or not popular. Like that's our thing. So I think that this is going to be fun to just play. Win or lose, it's going to be a blast to play.
Well, just to talk a little bit about what I usually do on the subreddit is I kind of go through Rings DB for decks like this. That's like, someone tried an interesting idea and let's see how it worked out, or this looks interesting. Like people should give it a shot and just see if they like it.
Right.
There's just so much out there by so many people, and I feel like it's really easy to miss things. So I do, and I actively look through Rings DB for stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to do it. It's at the very least you can look through Rings DB for ideas, right? So
Oh, certainly, and I mean,
that's what it's there for.
right, and there's so many interesting combos and things like that. It's like one of the Dunedain decks I built for Angmar Awakened. I pulled some ideas from C-Stand decks where it's like, oh, well, yeah, if I Ranger Cardolan in and drop in this guy with horns, horns, horns. Like I can very good tail before I have to shuffle them back into my deck, and
Right.
then I have 2 permanent allies in play. Like
Right.
seems great.
Yep. Yeah, that stuff. And I wouldn't necessarily, not that you did, but I wouldn't necessarily call that janky either. I think that that's just smart gameplay. I think when you and I talk about jank, we mean like you need to get out, these 4 things and then do this one thing so that this other thing can happen. And then all of a sudden you're attacking for 20 without exhausting. Like that's what jank is, right? Like I think using stuff like that, it's funny to see what jank people come up with. And so, but I think the Ranger of Cardolan trick is not necessarily janky. And I don't know why I just got on this rant about jank, but I think that people out that are listening to this probably think of jank as different sorts of things. So I don't know. Anyways.
Well, I think I lowered my bar because it is kind of hard to pull off multi-card combos in this game.
Yeah, it can be a trick, that's for sure. You have a lot of card draw too. You have faux
the faux hammer, Ancient Matham, Gandalf, technically.
I'm hoping that I'm first player every time that Ancient Matham gets explored that way. I'm the one drawing my 3 cards all the time. Oh, that's funny. Okay, should we look at the quest? This deck looks interesting, and I want to see how it's going to play. So should we load up the quest? Okay. So, I guess I'll be in charge of the encounter deck, and then we'll just go from there. So. This particular deck is not anything special, really. So that's actually a pretty good first draw for you, I would guess. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't see.
I don't see Light of Valinor, which
Right.
I would like to see, and then a good Harvest is nice, but without Steward of Gondor with it, I'm like, especially. I think I did some sampling of the hand generator on RaceDB, and it's only a 13% chance of getting both of them in the opening hand.
Yeah.
That's with 30 draws, people, so it's a statistically significant minimum sample.
Right. Oh.
Came here for a quest playthrough. You got a little bit of statistics.
Yeah, right.
Thrown
So are you going to mulligan or are you not going to mulligan?
I think I am going to mulligan this one.
Okay. You can go ahead and mulligan and we'll see what you get.
Hey, Light of Valinor. I'm already much more pleased with this hand, although I'm not happy with 2 good harvests. We got Westfold Hullspreader, so that's a nice, easy chump blocker, which will be good.
Yeah, and you get to. Well, there's no mounts in your deck, right? But
there are no mounts.
But 1-for-1 questing is pretty good. Okay, so for my deck here, I'm looking. So very early on, I realized that I needed Nenya out in order to play the Tree People. So the Tree People is nice to have in your opening hand, but it's not nice when you don't have Nenya. So, and I have 3 lore cards and no Nenya, so I'm going to end up mulliganing this hand. So let's
Makes
see.
sense to me.
Oh, look, you get your Steward of Gondor. I was going to tell the people there that the one thing I was going to do, because this deck runs Steward of Gondor, was I was going to make sure that Steward of Gondor, if I draw it, is going to go onto Matt's hero, whoever he wants it on. So that's it. So I did get 2 2 lore cards, or 3 lore cards. I'm back to 3 lore cards, which I guess I'll just have to figure out how to do it. But I guess it is what it is, right? So
reset. Let's just go to call that a loss.
Scoop. Right. Actually, it's not going to be horrible because I do have the Handmaiden, which reduces threat, and I can reduce your threat by 1. So I have some ways to keep our threat lower, hopefully. So if we can keep our threat at 0 for more than 1 round, that would be great. So
give us a chance to build up.
Right. So I'm reading the quest card now. Flavor text says remove Dark Pit from the encounter deck, place a side out of play, add Durin's Bane to the staging area, and shuffle the encounter deck. Okay. So I always like to go back to the encounter deck and give it just one more shuffle, just because I don't know why, but that's how it's going to work. And then
Paranoia, it's plotting against you.
yes. Okay, so reduce each player's threat to 0. I was going to say that deck starts with 19 threat. That's amazing. And then, of course, we're playing the one where that doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm setting my threat down to 0, and then we will X is one less than the number of players in the game. Okay, so we'll reveal a card. Oh, when revealed, each player must discard one attachment he controls. That is a good time to draw that card right now.
Yep.
Okay.
We're getting some luck here.
I know. Hopefully that's a good sign. Okay. Control N to let's get going here. You can't use that guy this phase, I guess, is what we want to say. But so
I feel like that's the obligatory first move there.
Right. Of course it is. And then I actually don't have anything else I can play, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. It be
I do
what
have
it be.
2 good harvests. I could put out Breeder this turn, but I don't think I need it. And if I hold on to that, I could always test a will if there's really bad treachery that comes up.
And I'm going to leave Galadriel until the until that action window right after questing, just in case we have to, or I'm going to leave her for after questing, just in case one of us has to take one threat or something,
Okay.
and then we can at least prevent one of us from taking the damage. So, but we don't have any allies down right now, so I'm a little nervous. But okay, here we go. Questing. So I'll quest for 3.
Well, I will actually quest for 7.
Okay. So 3 and 7 is 10. So I'll put that in there. Right now in the staging area, there's 4. It looks like. Okay, let's reveal. I was playing this recently, and I drew both cave trolls in the first 2 rounds. Okay, Inner Shadow. Heal 5 damage from Durin's Bane.
That's another good one to see early.
Yep. Okay, so then it surges into Watchful Eyes. First player attaches Watchful Eyes to one of his heroes. Okay, well, you get to take control of that.
Yep. I want to say the temptation is to put on Glorfindel, because you don't necessarily have to have him exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, that seems, at least right now, the thing to do, right?
Yeah. If you don't mind, for some reason I can't click and drag it down.
Oh, you have to take control of it. So if you right click and then you can say it says take control of.
Gotcha.
There you go. And you can do whatever you want. Okay, so that was card number 1. Second card is when revealed, each player must discard one ally he controls. It gains Surge. Okay, that's a good one to see right away. And then another Inner Strength. Inner Shadow.
Today.
Yeah, Surgy. Okay. When revealed, each player must deal 1 damage to a hero he controls. That is wunderbar. Okay. So I'll deal 1 damage to... That's forced after a character. Okay, so we'll clean up the staging area. And... it looks like we quested successfully, right? 6. So we'll put 4 progress on the main quest.
Good amount of progress.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna take the card draw this time because I need something to play. Jeez, I got a Galadriel Minstrel. It's nice, but it's not the one that we want. Right now. Okay, so what do you want to do with this ranging goblin?
I think I could actually engage it because I keep saying her name wrong. Nasia. Can defend it easily. Although I guess if I attack with Glorfindel, that would be my usual play to get rid of it. But if we do that, we'll have to add another counter card. But I could still just take it keep defending it so we get through stage 1.
We could do that. That's up to you. We also could leave it in the staging area, but I'm nervous about that. Just leaving threat in the staging area.
I am as well. I mean,
you can also trigger the Steward of Gondor now if you want. You can take control of it and trigger it, and then you can get 3 resources on Nasia, and she can do whatever you need her to do.
Good call.
So me or you? I mean, I can defend the thing, but I can't kill it. That's the problem.
You know what? It might be worth just taking it undefended. Glorfindel's got a lot of hit points, and then Nasia can just take him out.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. I'll engage it.
Okay. Deal a shadow. It's going undefended. No shadow. Oh my god. Especially Perfect. in this quest, I think there's a ton of shadow cards.
Oops.
So you get
wrong one.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll take that 1 damage and spend a resource from Nasia to booster for this attack.
And then
take him out.
This guy dies. It's funny about the pronunciation of Nasia. End of round here. Control N. And then because I had no idea how to pronounce Nasia's name until I went to Con of the Rings and ran into Matt Newman, and he was talking about, and he was the one that developed her. So I figured if he pronounces it Nasia, then I will pronounce it Nasia. That's the only reason why I knew that.
There's the ancient Matham you want to explore.
Yeah, right. There's no active location. Dang it.
Yeah, I was looking. There's not a lot of locations, and honestly, we probably don't want to see too many of them because they're awful.
Yeah. For some reason, not for some reason, but Steward of Gondor did not trigger. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this. And so I'm gonna reduce your threat by 1.
Okay.
And so you should be down to 0. And then I'm going to play Galadriel and reduce my own threat down to 0. So I think that helps a ton, right?
Yes, it does, because now
we get a second round to get ready for this. What can you play? What do you have to play?
I've got the Westfold Horsebreeder, which gives us a little more questing power, and a chump blocker if we need it.
Right. Yeah, I have a chump 2, and then I bet you're dying.
My daughter is not happy.
Yeah, she's like, but why did you play that Westfold Horsebreeder?
Don't talk about chumping with the Horsebreeder.
Yes. I have a mitt full of lore cards and can't play any of them because I have to. It's not going well right now, but that's okay.
Well, we'll have lots of options once Nenya makes an appearance.
If Nenya makes an appearance, every once in a while there's a time when I don't get Nenya. So, okay, so questing, I guess, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'll quest for 3, and then 6.
Let's go ahead and quest for 8.
So you're questing for 8, I'm questing for 6, so that's 14. And in the staging area, there's still just 4 with Durin's Bane. And I cross my fingers that we can not get any doomed cards. Okay, so first counterspell. When revealed, attach counterspell to Durin's Bane.
I think that's a test of will card right there if I ever saw one.
You don't have the resources.
But I have Good Harvest.
Oh,
so I can name Spirit.
Good for you.
And then play my test of will.
Okay, good. That sounds great. That's a great move right there. So, okay. And then, so that was card number 1. Card number 2 is, there's a location. X is the number of players in the game. So I'll put some threat counters on that just so everybody can see that there's 2 threat. Should we travel to that location?
I think we should, because then we'll be able to Agent Matham at next turn and
And then
hopefully get some card
you
draw.
can get the 3 cards that you need. But before we do that, let's make sure. So we're up at 6 as the.
I guess
So we made how much progress here?
looks
A
like
lot.
8.
8. So we cleared the quest. Okay, so
This is already going smoother than some of my quick test runs last night.
okay. If at least one hero committed to the quest, place 4 progress tokens on the rear guard. If
Which
dirt-
will be easy with Glorfindel since you can always just send him.
Yeah, but okay. It's been a while since I've played Shadow and Flames, and I did look through it, and I forgot this quest card. I never made it to this quest card last night because I was playing it with my Hobbit deck, and so
I made
Hobbits
it
are
to this
fun.
quest card a few times in some quick run-throughs, and mainly I was just struggling to survive against the Durin's Bane.
Right.
It was nice with this deck to be like, I'm just going to send Glorfindel, screw the threat.
Right.
I will get through this in 4 turns, one way or another.
Right. Okay. Well, let's travel, I guess, right? We'll make that the active
Well,
location.
Like I said,
wait.
my counter thought to this was, do you really need the cards for Nenya? So we could delay till next turn to travel, so we get you 3 more
I mean,
cards.
it seems like we're being successful right now. And
Okay.
I think I'll be able to lower quests. I'll be able to
Lower threat again to
I'll be able
avoid
to
attacks.
I think I'll be able to lower threat again to avoid attacks. So, and I didn't purposely tech this deck to help it out, but I don't know. So I think we're okay making that the active location.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's the combat phase. Even though the combat phase isn't there, I'm still going to use
The action window.
the action window to bring out Henemarth during here. Actually, I'm not even going to bring out Henemarth. I'm going to bring out this guy and use up both my resources because I want the event. So let's see. Oh, good. Guess what I just drew? So I got a test of will, just so you know. So that's a good.
Not on Nenya.
Good... Yeah. Well, I know, but it is what it is, right? Okay. Okay. So next round, Control N. Okay. Well, I did draw Feigned Voices, so I can feign voice an attack from Durin's Bane. And so, I don't know about what you drew. Doesn't appear.
I seem to be Control N doesn't seem to be working for me right now.
Maybe do it manually. Control N. Sometimes it goes wonky. I've been playing with Grant. He's just along for the ride, so you'll just have to. It didn't add resources either, so I can do it on my side and then.
I've got it.
You got it. Okay, that's good. See the white outlines on your heroes. That means that something happened, and so Control N is happening right when. So I hit Control N too. So I don't know, something weird's happening. So you won't have to do it at the end of this round, I guess. Super weird.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. It's always good when the playthrough has more to do with the mechanics of Octagon. Right. Okay. So I did say that I was going to be able to lower threat here. So here's what I'm going to do: is I'm going to give us all a. Oh well, I guess you're first player, so I'll let you go do all of the stuff that you're going to do first.
Right. So I don't think we need Arwen just yet, and getting some more cards is probably a good idea, especially since we might need my feints here soon.
Right.
So we'll go ahead and play Ancient Matham.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll get a dagger and I can start drawing cards with Foehammer.
That would be nice. Okay. Do you have anything else? I guess that's about all you can do, right?
Yep, that's all.
Okay. So I'm going to play Island Amid Perils.
Mhm.
and I'm going to bring the minstrel back into my hand because he has less, and that's going to lower my threat by. Let me see. That's going to lower my threat by 2, but that's really just by 1. Okay, and then I'm going to use Galadriel against you.
Okay.
And then lower your threat by 1. And then you get to draw a card as well.
Look, it's Elrond's Council. I'll be able to lower my own threat to 0 next turn.
Oh, good. So now we have at least two turns in the bag here that we're able to keep our threat less than 0. This is a way to cheese for people watching this. This is a way to cheese this is find a deck that you can continually lower threat. And again, my deck doesn't particularly do this 2-player. Like it's not specially designed to do it 2 players. I just happen to be drawing into cards that are allowing me to do it. So, okay.
Yeah, I played a single-handed solo a little bit last night. Like, this deck could occasionally do it, but couldn't do it consistently on its own.
Right. So we're actually going to be able to put 4 progress tokens on the rear guard here at some point. So let's quest, I guess, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm questing for 3, 5.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and quest for 8 again.
For 8. So I'm doing 5, you're doing 8, so that's 13. And there's 4 in the staging area. So card number 1. God, hey, an enemy. That's cool. Then card number 2, the first player. Limit 1 per hero.
Okay, so it looks like Eowyn has to take it.
You can. Well, Nasia could take it. She hasn't been exhausted.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily have to do combat right now.
Right.
Plus, we'll probably make a good amount of progress to be able to get to stage 3 here pretty quick.
Hopefully. So there's 5, 6, 7. So you get to draw 3 cards. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we get to put 4 more on there. 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's good. Did you draw your 3 cards from... Oh, yes, you did.
Yep, and we got a feint. And so with Elrond's Council and feint, we got a couple more turns where we don't have to worry about Durin's Bane.
And then that unexpected courage on Nasia helps out. Right?
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to...
avoid the watchful eyes at the very least.
Avoid the watchful eyes, right?
I think we're going to want to leave the swordsman there. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you know what I forgot to do? I have a test of will in my hands. I could test of will that watchful eyes right off of you. I should have done that. Let me rephrase. I would have done that. So now we get to talk about this. So what's your thoughts about going back in time?
I honestly go back in time a lot when I play.
Okay.
Since I keep a written log, it's really easy to reverse things. When I'm like, oh, I was dumb. That was a very bad play mistake.
Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of your. I would have test of willed your watchful eyes because that would have been the second card anyways, and it would have been fine. Okay, so okay. Now let's see, what can we do? I can.
I mean, especially with the extra 4 progress for committing Glorfindel, I think we could just leave the swordsman there this turn.
Okay.
We've been doing pretty good on questing, and soon we're gonna want to try and put a lot of damage on Durin's Bane.
Yeah, I forget. When I was going through, I never saw the 3rd quest card. I saw the nasty treacheries and all the attachments that go on Durin's Bane, but I forgot about looking at the quest cards. Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, I followed your advice and read Visions of the Palantir last night, and
well, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna bring out Henemarth, just to give me somebody a 1-cost thing, and then that's good. You can get rid of the Ancient Matham up there. by
Oops,
the.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay, and so what do you think about this Goblin Swordsman? I think you can kill him now, right? Or can't you kill him? You
I
could.
could kill him, but we would end up with another card due to Watchful Eyes.
Let's.
Because I would have to, yeah, so I'd have to defend with Nausea, and then Glorfindel would be able to take him out, but then we did reveal an encounter card. I'm not sure it's a great trade-off for
Okay.
one threat in the staging area.
Okay. Think about it for a minute while I run to the restroom. Okay, what was your decision here?
I think we want to leave it there.
Okay.
Because even the worst case scenario where we get the 4 and 3 threat locations, we should be able to quest 4 enough to make it to stage 3, even over those 2, leaving the swordsman in there.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so don't hit Control N, and I'll hit Control N, and then.
Yep, that worked.
Yeah. Do you have a way to lower threat?
I do with Elrond's counsel, so I can get
Okay.
mine down to 0.
Okay.
And we'll get a bonus willpower.
Right. So I'm going to use Galadriel for myself. Draw a card. Okay, I get Olorian. And I reduced my threat to 0. And I don't have anything really left to do. I can look at the top card of the encounter deck if I need to.
Okay.
What are you gonna? You have a ton you can do here, right?
But yeah, and actually, I am seriously considered using my second good harvest so I can put Dagger of Westerness and Unexpected Courage on Nausea. So soon we're gonna want her to go to town on Durin's Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Though I'm not sure Unexpected Courage necessarily helps her since we don't have the Watchful Eyes right now on her. Or maybe on Glorfindel. Just
so I mean,
that.
you can name Spirit. You could put out Elfhelm because you have 3 on Eowyn and the 1 on Glorfindel, and then you can also put out with Nausea the Dagger and Unexpected Courage, and then you'll still have enough to obviously Elrond's Counsel's free, but so that would be it. That would set up your board pretty good. So, but it's up to you.
Right. Just trying to debating how helpful Elfhelm is right now. So right now with Nasia's hoard of resources, we're looking at getting her up to 24 attack, 24 attacks. There's no limit.
Right.
Oh. But we probably don't need quite that much.
Yeah,
I guess the advantage of Unexpected Courage on her is she can attack and defend. We could get rid of the swordsman easily if we need to. We could Unexpected Courage Galadriel. We could keep cheesing the threat pretty easily.
Well, she can't do anything else right now, so it's not until she gets Nenya. I think that the best with the thought of Durin's Bane coming out, so it's either got to be an Unexpected Courage on Nausea, or thematically it could go on Glorfindel. Glorfindel loved to beat up the Balrogs in the first stage, so.
This is true. Didn't he take on an army by himself? I guess I'm asking the wrong person. Grants are
right. No, he did. He took on all sorts of stuff. So it's up to you. Then you get to make those resources are worth a ton on Nausea. So
right.
Like you said, that's a 24 swing.
We also have Eowyn's attack ability to consider. So,
right.
So the hoard of resources is it'll be a great attack, but we don't necessarily need all of them.
Right.
Definitely looking to play that for sure.
Okay. Well, that you can play without Good Harvest, I guess.
Right, let's go ahead and take that off. I think it's going to make the most sense to kind of get Nasia ready to go here. 'Cause
I think
with
so.
her resources right now, she can actually defend the Balrog a couple of times pretty easily.
Right. If she only had Sentinel.
Well, and that's the other thing. If I name Spirit, I could actually
You
give
think-
her Sentinel with Arwen.
Right. And then now
Maybe
that's 4. But
So I will have to pay one from her pool
Right,
for Unexpected
for
Courage if I do
Unexpected
it that
Courage.
way.
Yeah, or you could pay both from her pool for Unexpected Courage, and then pay both from Eowyn's pool for Arwen, and leave the one on Glorfindel.
Yeah, that sounds like a good. Let's do it that way.
It sounds reasonable. Okay.
Now
It's
we
funny how
we
the-
have a plan B if we need to
Right.
defend.
Right. That's good, and that helps my elf deck here.
Okay. And plus we got plenty more questing power if we need it.
Yeah.
And I don't need to keep sending the breeder necessarily along and keep her as a plan C.
Yeah, plan C, right. That's okay. So I think we're looking good. I'm gonna exhaust Henamarth just to see what card is coming up. So this is the next card here. Many Thonged Whip. Okay, so that's going to go on to, I have no way to cancel that, so
I do not either.
okay. Well, this will be I always put the cards that are first that are going to come off of the encounter deck over here. The revealed, the ones that we look at. So, okay. So, anyways, now it's time to quest, I guess. I can quest for 3, 5. That's me not being able to quest very much. 5. I got 5. Matt's going to come across. He's going to have like 20. I'll quest for 28.
I said this deck would probably quest surprisingly well.
Yeah,
Actually,
no,
I'm
it
going to
does.
quest for 9.
9. And are you going to give Sentinel to somebody?
Yeah, we'll give Defense and Sentinel to Nasia.
So how much did you say? 9? And I said
Correct.
5, so that's 14. Not 140.
And I'll probably be boosting that to 15 with Elrond's Council. Just being a good player and waiting till we see the cards.
Gotcha. Okay, so here's card number 1, the whip.
Yep.
Okay, and then card number 2 is the sword. That was like the worst possible draw for this. So we got the whip and the sword.
Yep. I guess the good news is we made lots of progress.
Yeah, I guess that's the good news, huh? Okay, so we put 4 on because of questing, and then we had 5 in the staging area, right? Because the goblin.
Yep. So we made 9 on top of that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 23, and I think that we still get to go through this quest, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So the Lord of Moria. Okay. Travel, flavor text. Guess what? Here comes the Balrog. And it says, when revealed, Durran's Bane makes an immediate attack against the first player.
By the way, I forgot to do this. Not that it
Okay.
matters
Yeah.
for progress, but it matters for my
Right.
threat.
Okay, so he makes an immediate attack against the first player. Okay, and we're not in the combat phase. This is where that
Right.
Sentinel thing would be totally amazing right now for me because I can't handle a 9 attack. Let's see. I don't have a problem discarding the card, but he's attacking for 9. Are you gonna?
I can defend that with Nasia.
Oh, You're so sweet.
So let's see. Her defense. Well, I guess we could flip the shadow, and then I can do the actions to boost her
Yep.
defense as needed.
No shadow.
Oh, that's a nice card to get as a shadow too.
Yep.
Get it.
So 9. So if you
All
don't
right,
want to
9.
take any damage, you'd have to
Need
put
to do
4.
3.
4, 3, 3 gets you up to 8. Oh, plus the extra defense, right? 9.
Right.
Yep, 3. Okay.
All right.
Now
Good.
if
I'll
you-
refill that easily next turn.
right, and then do you want to ready her and take this Goblin Swordsman?
Let's see. I guess it keeps. Let's see. What
It
do we
doesn't
need to
matter.
do
It's
here?
just one threat, so it's not like it's doing anything crazy. But
I guess one thing we forgot to do is add Dark Pit to the staging area.
well, does it get added to the staging area?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
win revealed on the
Yep.
last stage.
Okay. Refresh action.
Exhaust X characters. Discard the top X cards of your deck.
Oh, this is how. Yeah, this is how we have to
This
kill
is how you-
Durance Bane. So.
And we
Okay.
can't. I guess do it. So let's see. We just did the rid revealed, so we haven't traveled yet. And so it needs to be the active location or do the refresh action to try and discard him. But we're not necessarily fighting him this turn, so we could wait till next turn to do all that.
Right.
And I could ready Dacia. Can't necessarily
you
take that
can't-
undefended.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you can. 3 undefended is pretty harsh. Let me see what I can do.
Well, he
Yeah.
also gets boosted if he's undefended, so he's 5 at a
Right.
minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
I could always
You
do
know
the
what?
breeder as a chump and then take him out.
Let's see. I'll take him. I'll kill him. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trigger Olorian, and I will do
Okay.
1, 2, 3. And so now he's boosted. Okay. So now, let's see. We're not traveling, right? Because we decided we need to keep this in here, right?
Well, yeah,
'Cause
'cause we
it's-
don't necessarily want to put progress on it because we need it to be the active location when we're ready to like.
Right. So
Take him out.
next round we'll engage it and kill it and do all those things,
Right.
right? Okay. Is this the last? Players cannot while Durance Bane is in play if during in fact players have won the game. Okay. So let's just get rid of this guy because I don't want to deal with him. Okay. So I'll deal him a shadow card. I'll play this. I'll pull back. I'll pull back Henamarth, cancel the attack, and then I'll attack it for 3 with Haldir, who also has ranged BTW, which is nice. Because I can help.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have
kill-
too much trouble getting Durance Bane down to 0.
Right. Okay. But then it'll regenerate 3 at the end of the round, and then I don't know. We're gonna have to just be careful. Okay. So I think we were
Well,
able to kill that off. What were
I
you gonna
think
say?
with Indestructible, you can put more damage on him than he has hit points. I think we're ready for next round.
Yep. Control N.
There we go.
Okay. Good. I didn't get any resources. There they go. Okay. Hey, I got a test of will in my hand, so that's nice.
That is going to be very nice. Although I think, well, I guess Counterspell is one we really don't want right now.
Right. Right.
Especially when I'm planning on fainting him.
Right. I'm reading the.
I mean, Escort for Edoras might be helpful just to have a chump, but I've got Feint.
You can put more than 27 damage on Durin's Bane.
Ah, good.
Official from Caleb, so that's good. Okay. Sorry, I was just.
No, I was doing the same thing earlier, and I was like, we can make it. I think
we can. Yeah, I think we'll be able to do this. So, is this the round that we want to have? That we don't care about lowering threat.
Yes, or at least not on. I don't care because I need to be able to attack him, and I think I still need to be considered engaged to
Right.
attack.
So you still need to have your one.
Right.
Right.
If you lower your own threat to below 0, it means we don't have to worry about blocking. I've got Feint for his attack.
Right.
And then I can.
I also have a. I have a Feign Voices, so I'm able to do that. But I will lower my threat and draw a card. And I will do this.
I guess if I was a good player, I'd play the Escort just for the backup chump, but I don't think we're going to see him attack 3 times. Famous last words.
I was going to say, you now know what's going to happen, don't you? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I was able to play Galadriel and ready her with the Greenwood Archer. I don't know. I think I'm ready to go.
I'm as ready as well.
Okay, so questing. Right now there's 4 in the staging area.
That is correct.
Okay, so 4 in the staging area, and I'll quest for 3. 3. I'll quest for 5. It seems like we don't have to worry about questing so much this time around.
I'm going to quest for 9 just so that Nasia gets Sentinel and the defense boost again.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. And
Aowen will ready with her ability anyway.
Right. Okay, so I'm at 0 threat, so I don't have to engage the guy. So, okay, so first card, Massing in the Deep. Doomed 1. There it is. Reveal X additional encounter cards in the deck and add in the staging X is the number of players in the game. So this is where it gets bad here. Okay. So that's going to be 2 threat and 2 attack. That's fine. Okay, so this is the second card of the first card, right? Chance encounter. Put the top enemy in it. See? Ha ha ha. Engaged with the first player.
Which would be me.
Which would be you. So this guy comes out. Okay, so that was the first card. And now we get the second card. Is another Goblin Swordsman. So it looks like we have 7 in the right, and we did 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now do we want to travel to the Dark Pit?
Yes, so we can
okay.
hopefully defeat Durin's Bane this turn.
Okay, so we'll make that the active location. And so now, here's what I like to do just to make it easier. So I'm going to take this guy and put him, kind of keep him in the staging area, but kind of not in the staging area and in between us, so he's engaged. So we know that he's engaged with both people. Okay, so I can deal with an attack from him, and you can deal with an attack from him.
Yeah, I can feint him on my side.
Okay. Okay, and would we guess that we're going to leave the Stray Goblin and the Goblin Swordsman up in the staging area? Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, because they're not going to matter if we can defeat Durin's Bane on the refresh phase. Plus, we don't have to engage them right now. We've been questing pretty well, and it's not like we need to make progress. In fact, we don't want to make progress on the Dark Pit.
Right. Okay, so we'll deal shadow cards. So which one do you want to deal with first? Do you want to deal with the big guy, or do you want to deal with the swordsman?
Well, we can go ahead and just feint the big guy,
Okay, big guy done.
and
Okay,
then I think the breeder is gonna just sacrifice herself to the goblin there.
okay,
Seems the expedient way to
cool.
do things.
Okay, so that's still just a 3. So the horse
She's
breeder served
toast.
us well. Yeah, she did her job. Okay, and
Got a
now
lot more use out of her than I thought I would.
right. Okay, so now Durn's Bane is going to make an attack against me, deal a shadow card. I'm going to play this and
Nice.
bring this back into hand. Okay, and so that cancels that attack. Now, if you would like, so you don't have to worry about it. I can take out the goblin swordsman for you.
Okay.
I have a ranged Greenwood archer. So okay, so the goblin swordsman's gone. So now you get to deal with Durin's Bane however you want, my friend.
Well, I think we should use Awen's ability to boost her up to 10 attack,
Okay.
and attack token is control 2.
Yeah. It's always nice to see that.
And then go ahead and have her and Nasia attack together. Use Nasia's ability 9 times. Oops. Man, I will say this for the community built deck, like, for big effects, this does not get any better, because now we're going to add 18 to her attack.
Jeez.
So we just attacked for 30 in one round.
Right. And we didn't. I mean, that was crazy. That's all the damage that.
That gets him exactly to 27 damage.
27
one turn.
Damage. Here, I'll add to that just with Haldir, just because. Just to make it
30 damage.
29. He came out last round, so.
Okay. Well, still, that makes our final test here a lot easier.
Yeah. I mean, let's just stop for a second, because I mean, we're trying to highlight the community built deck, like you just said, like that was huge. This deck may be fun to play against a boss. You haven't even touched Glorfindel. Glorfindel's been your dedicated quester this whole game.
Well, that watchful eyes makes it kind of tough to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and attack with him. But
I know, but still, like, you just attack something for 30. Holy cow. And I mean, I get that I've been helping with a little bit of threat reduction so that you're not losing people, but I mean, but that's the point
of Gondor really helped too. It's like it was going to be a tough to be able to get good harvest and Steward of Gondor, but having a partner deck that could kind of be like, hey, let me help you out here on the defense side and just kind of facilitate that.
Right.
Like, makes a big difference.
Yeah, totally crazy. Okay, so now what do we do?
So now we go to refresh, right?
Refresh. So, okay, Control N. So that's a new round.
Well, we want to actually be in the refresh phase because it's a refresh action to do the.
Okay, so
we
won't play any cards and we'll do all that stuff. So refresh actions happen after we refresh our characters. So what do we need to do? Exhaust X characters you control. So
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter a ton. I mean, I could exhaust Glorfindel finally. He's not going to be exhausted at the end of the combat phase if we succeed.
Right. I mean, but who's exhausting? Is it you or me? Because it doesn't say first player. I'm sure this question...
It just says X characters, maximum of 3. So, I mean, I guess between the two of us.
Yeah.
So, I guess I don't necessarily have to exhaust Glorfindel if you have a couple other characters you want to exhaust. Or I can exhaust Nasia, she can ready. With
the remaining hit points. Wait, if we're discarding cards, right? So let's The thing
Is it
about my deck,
discard from our hand or
top of the deck.
yeah, it's mill. So that's why I was remembering. It's like we gotta.
I have 0 cost cards. Let me remove the so okay, regenerate 3. We remove the 3 damage here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we need to do. There's 1 hit point left, so I can discard cards from my deck, but I have a lot of 0 cost stuff. So
Okay, so
that's the
makes
only
the most
thing.
sense for me to toss my characters. So we don't necessarily need AO into quest either if we happen to not make it.
I don't understand why you're. Exhaust X characters.
Right.
Okay, I don't. Oh, and then two discard cards. Man, it's been a long time. Okay.
So this will let me mill 3. I have a lot of 1-cost cards.
Okay.
I have
fine,
a
that's
few
all we-
0-cost, but I mean, all we need to do is get what, 2?
We need to get 2. So that's fine. Okay, so
All
if
right.
you're willing to do it. So did you
There's
do
1.
There it is.
We
That's all
won.
1, 2.
We won
We
handily.
We won a lot. Wow. Okay.
That's a satisfying finale there.
It is. I especially love that Pippin came out as part of it. Like you threw you threw Pippin at the Balrog to kill him. Like that Pippin is a nice Pippin to have doing your stuff. But I just think it's I think that deck worked really well. I think it did what it needed to do. And I mean, I guess I bought it some time with my deck, but I mean that's what playing 2 players all about, right?
Exactly. And a lot of people do play 2-handed. So I think, as far as a workable deck, I struggled a little bit with it single-handed solo, but like I said, you have the pieces there. It's just this quest in particular, that 6 attack and like second turn is really hard to deal with.
Right.
And there's not much defense boosting other than Nastia's ability and Arwen. So, there's going to be quests where this just doesn't work, but that's the case with any deck unless you're playing Villia.
Right. Unless you're playing like the crazy powerful, the one deck that rules them all.
So it's not a one deck to rule them all, but it's a solid deck.
Yeah, I think that the community did a good job putting it together. So, I guess I'll have to congratulate you on the success of this deck, and if there's ever a need to run through the another deck, you do another community deck on Reddit. I'd love to help you. I'd love to help you play through again. It was fun.
I think at some point I will do it again. I'm gonna let it rest for a little bit, think about some things. I mentioned offline that we probably would want to have a discussion thread beforehand. I have some thoughts and kind of just jotting them down for now, and gonna think about it a little bit more instead of the, hey, let's do this and figure things out as we go, like I did this time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it worked out really well. So I think Matt, I applaud you.
Thank you. But really, I mean, a lot of people in the subreddit deserve a lot of the credit.
Right.
Unless the poll required me to vote to see the results, I really did not do much other than tabulate what people had put together.
Well, and hey, if you're good at something, stick with it, right? You're a good tabulator. You're also good at killing Durin's Bane. My goodness.
No, the subreddit is good at killing Durin's Bane.
Okay. Right, yeah. Oh, well. Okay, well, Matt, it was great to have you on, and we'll do this again sometime. Maybe we'll do it once a month, have a regular play session where we can play some games or something.
I would really like that.
Yeah.
I don't get to play much multiplayer, as you talk about often on Card Talk. Single-handed solo, sometimes the decks just have to do everything, and it could be kind of tough to be like, man, I really want to play this card, but there's just not room for that because I need this,
right.
this, and this.
Yep. Okay, well, have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.